Hello there and welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. I'm so glad that you're with us and I'm so grateful that you're supporting us as we're doing these productions every single day. The number is right down on the description and also pinned on the comment if you'd like to support this channel and the content that we have. Our usual political conversations with Herman Manyora. These conversations are simple, truthful, Prof putting them across in a hard-hitting way. How are you doing today?
Wonderful.
I want to start with the state of the opposition as it is, and I don't know if I'll put Matiang'i there, but the state of opposition. Yesterday, Raila Odinga stormed into the new Jubilee headquarters. They have now a court, they have now an order by the Political Parties Tribunal Council that the members, the Secretary General that was being placed there, Kanini, Kega and the others, do not yet have the right to become the party leaders. From that alone, what are we looking at as the state of opposition? Because now it seems Raila has taken the full responsibility even of former President Uhuru Kenyatta, and now he's going through all these parties and bringing sanity in them.
On the outset, I must say, I do not believe that there could be trouble in Jubilee if Uhuru didn't want it. I don't believe that.
Even if you see Raila there?
I know, I don't believe that. Maybe I don't know, but I don't believe. Because you see, I have looked at the party constitution. And I remember how Tuju was so powerful. And with the party, you know, the Jubilee party, unless they have changed, the party leader is everything.
Okay.
The Secretary General is so powerful. Anybody else is just a joke.
So
how can somebody take over Jubilee from Uhuru? How?
Don't you think he has decided to let Raila take charge of this coalition party, Azimio, and say, you do your politics?
I'm not buying that, and I'm sure not many Kenyans are buying that. No. You know, we must tell these people, we don't have porridge in the head.
Yeah?
Not many people are buying that. That's nonsense.
So you still stand, you remember the video we had, you said this confirms that Uhuru may be playing Raila, you still stand with
They have their own games, they know each other, but for us, they must struggle to convince us that Uhuru means well for Raila.
But why is it so difficult for Raila? Because I think in our previous conversation too, you said we don't know what games they are playing. Why is it so difficult? Because now we are seeing Raila even going to Jubilee as if now it's his own party.
You know, for Raila it's good. You know, in politics you need space. You can't just, you know, you can't fire people's imagination from your bedroom. Or from your sitting room, for that matter. Not even from your balcony. Things must be happening. And in America, they even manufacture it.
Yeah.
They even hit another country. They bomb a country. If the president doesn't have visibility, he needs to be visible. The ratings are down. You can hit Libya. You can hit Sudan. And then, pop, Bill Clinton. They happen. So, for Raila, this is godsend. What is happening around is giving high profile. And he must be enjoying every minute of it all. For him, it is good. Yeah, these are people are saying this. I wish we had Raila like this. If this Raila was in the campaign, this thing would have been 1 in the morning. So for him, it's good. It's giving visibility. But
do you think he has been given the powers to take charge of Jubilee? And as you said, it's a bit awkward when we see the president playing politics, President Uhuru Kenyatta. Don't you think he has given him full power of Azimio and he has decided to opt out of all?
I just don't believe, you know, and you can't
blame someone.
You can't blame me for not believing. I just don't believe. And I don't have the facts. Uhuru can give excuses that I was a former head of state, but I've already explained, in fact, he need not be the head of Jubilee. He must relinquish that position. That's what is natural. You get it?
Yeah.
Relinquish it. Give it to Matiang'i. Give it to Raila. Whatever. But so long as you are still the party leader of Jubilee, you cannot abdicate your responsibility. You have to take charge. Once everything is in order, you've told all busybodies like Kanini, Kega, and you know, I tell Kenyans, and I've said this repeatedly, one of the problems we have with our elective politics is political leaders think just about anybody can go to parliament. Look at Sifuna when he's talking in Senate. There's a clip going around. Yeah. That is a man. Those are the people you need to empower. And I advise people like Raila. I told him, safe seats like Langata. I don't know whether you remember.
Yeah, so you're here.
A safe seat like Langata, Westlands. By that time, Tim Onyonyi was going for governor, which he was going to get anyway. apart from the shenanigans that came up.
Yeah.
I was telling Raila, look at Westlands, look at Langata, look at safe seats that go to north and the rest. Put their men and women whom you will need to fight for you. You get it?
Yeah.
Now you put people like Jalango. I have nothing against Jalango, but now look at the things they are doing. Look at Kanini Kega. That caliber of leadership is yet to mature into politicians. So our politicians want people who go and kneel to them and say hello and greet them. Then they give you. No, those days are over. And this must be lessons to people like Raila and any other politician in this country. Don't just let somebody come to your home and knock and you say he's a good man. He should go for Langata. No! Just look at Sifuna in Senate. Just look at Sifuna in Senate. Just look at Sifuna in Senate.
And then we see it.
Those are the people you need if you are Raila. And Raila had the opportunity to look for people like those. Even those who had no idea. Look for Manyora, tell Manyora, wachana mambo ya kufundisha university, kuja chukua. Naambia mzee sina pesa, mimi nimesema ingia.
Senate, parliament.
Kama parliament. Niwe pale. And another person like me and another and Sifuna. 10 of us this country.
Are you saying the problems Raila is facing, it's problems
some of them are self-generated. Yeah, you need, now when you put useless people in positions, tomorrow they turn against you. You must be honest to yourself and ask yourself, how did these people end up being members of parliament? Did I have a role to play? No, you must, it's called introspection. You must ask yourself and answer yourself if you are Raila. Don't answer anybody. Ask yourself, do I have a role to play in this? And the people learning from Raila in the future, they must see we are entering politics that is completely different from anything we have ever had before. And the challenging times, even at a national level, we need the best men and women for any position we have. So if you are a Raila Odinga, you are William Ruto, and you have the power to get an MP in Langata, look for somebody. Tomorrow, he will serve you.
Then when you say...
You think somebody like Sifuna can be compromised?
Huh?
Every man has a price, I know. But by the time you compromise Sifuna, you will have compromised the whole world.
I'm saying now...
And there are men like those. And I'm not talking about myself. There are men like those. If you look for them, they are just there.
I'm saying now when you look at the problems... I'm
talking of people like Wafula Buke. Very loyal to Raila. But he doesn't have the wherewithal to win a parliamentary seat. They are there. Take him to a safe seat. Shika mkono yake. Sema, this parliament is going to be too tough. I'm going to be president, but I will need fighters. I want this Wafula Buke to be MP for Langata. Ambia Jalango endelea mambo yako radio. We shall support you in other ways.
I'm saying now you look at Jubilee and the problems that are there. You find it difficult to believe Uhuru doesn't have a hand in this kind of problems that are there. Then you look at Kanini Kega, and I think that's why you started this.
The small fellows, way people, see them. Ona huyu mtu hajaiva.
But don't you think...
Don't support the people who are not, they have no substance.
Is it really, because we have two issues here. One, Uhuru is either playing Raila.
Yes.
And that's why Kanini Kega is there. Being loyal, probably being loyal to Uhuru.
Yes.
Therefore, you cannot blame Raila for the problems, I guess.
No, I'm saying, really. I'm using that as an example. Even Jalango, I'm not talking about Jalango.
Yes.
Make no mistake. Even Sifuna, I'm not talking about Sifuna. I'm talking about certain types of people. Yes. I'm not talking about anybody here.
So I'm saying in the context of these leaders, that the problems that are happening in Jubilee, can you really put a blame on Raila? Because firstly, he isn't seeing whether Uhuru is playing. We don't really know on that.
I'm not blaming Raila either.
And also the leaders that are there, you say the caliber of leaders he has are not good enough for a person who wants to take over leadership in the country.
If you are going for the president of the country, it must concern you who becomes your MPs. There are places where you have no control. But there are places you have control. I've given an example. In Nairobi, Raila would decide who becomes MP for Dagoretti North, Langata, Westlands, Makadara. There are about 6, 7. Where for ODM is you just need to choose between a Luya and a Luo. And because they are their seats. These are our people. We know them. So, once you meshika Beatrice Elaki Mukono Dagore, nobody can beat her. Okay? So I'm saying you use those kind of safe seats to populate parliament with the people who will defend your, who will ensure you govern if you become president.
And even now that
now that you are not president,
Yeah.
you need troops. When the likes of Jalango have all gone to State House to eat ugali, you need to remain with a few people who can fight with you, whatever wars they are. Because politics is about war.
If Raila then heeded your advice, do you think this problem we have in Jubilee wouldn't have been there? Parliamentarians would have been able to stand up? Because now it seems like Ruto is in charge.
You know,
of
he didn't have control over Jubilee, but there's a way in which you can set an example. If you sit down with your brother Uhuru Kenyatta and tell him we need men and women in parliament, okay? So let's be careful about the people we support. Of course, people like Kanini Kega, you wouldn't replace them. They will still run in Kioni, but they wouldn't be a better Jubilee candidate. But you don't focus there. You get it? Even who you support for Yala. Because at the end of the day, people in Yala are also leaders in Kenya. And what Kanini Kega is saying now is so relevant that people may not even know he's Yala. He's a leader.
Okay.
By virtue of being the Yala MP, he's a relevant leader. So when he talks about Jubilee, people know they are listening to a leader. So you would have cut his legs
before he goes
to Yala.
What is the strategy now? If you
These people should just employ me.
What should be the strategy moving forward for Raila Odinga? Because Jubilee is in total confusion. Who's the Secretary General? Is it Kanini Kega? Is it Jeremiah Kioni? We look at his rallies. He's trying to take government out, but I think it hasn't gotten the magnitude people were expecting by now. I think it could have been bigger than it is, I believe, Raila's rallies. What is the strategy now moving forward for Raila if he's really certain that he wants to take Ruto?
You know, let us start with this Jubilee shenanigans. We celebrated the 2010 Constitution. One of the things this Constitution did was to create independent offices and powerful offices. What we forgot, those offices minus people are useless. So the office of the what do you call it? Registrar of political parties is one of those useless offices. Because there's nobody inside. There has never been anybody there. The shenanigans you see, it's like an office doesn't have anybody. It is not the only one. The judiciary, ODP, all these people, all these offices we created with a lot of excitement and hope. What we forgot, an office is as good as the people inside. So that's where the first problem is. You can be sure that these Jubilee shenanigans, especially if Uhuru does not put his foot down, will end up favoring Kanini Kega, Sabina, Chege, and the rest of these fellows, opportunists. Now, what then is Raila's strategy? Or what should be Raila's strategy? It is answered by the same thing. I keep saying, hopelessness is the greatest breeder of hope. When a situation is so hopeless, it creates hope in a revolutionary manner. So because all these leaders are trooping to State House, and the institution that should check them, like the judicial, like the register of political parties, are moribund, they are not working. You isolate Raila because I've said that, but the people now keep seeing there is a river between the people and the leaders. The leaders are gathered on one side. Because the president is safe, having assembled all the leaders on the table they are eating, the people can die the other side. So the river that separates the people from their leaders is swelling. The distance is becoming more. But the power is always with the people.
They're the majority.
They're the majority. So Raila, working with these people, the guys the other side are not much.
So he ought to remain with the people.
He'll just be with the people. If he wants. I'm saying again, I must repeat. If he wants. There has never been a job easier for Raila than this one. This is the easiest job Raila has had since he was born. He has fought so hard. He has sacrificed. He has been detained. He has everything. His elections have been stolen. But now God has given him one. The easiest job Raila has today is just to tell the people, your leaders have let you down. You are dying of hunger. Your loved ones are dying. Your children have not gone to school. And your leaders are dining and whining the other side.
You know, you say that and you remind me of Moi. And I think this is what Ruto is doing, this Raila is doing with Azimio. You're comparing Ruto with Moi.
Yes.
And some would say if Moi was able to stay in power for 24 years, will Ruto still stay in power despite the, Raila saying they have similarities of trying to poach everyone towards their side, remove parties, destroying parties, making Kenya, as he says, Ruto wants to make Kenya one-party state.
You see, Moi ruled under different times. Different people, different time. The world was then different. I grew up at a time when one policeman or two would come in a village and arrest 100 people in a changa den. Na wenyewe wanajifunga mikono. Wanapelekwa na askari mmoja.
Yeah.
Can you do that today? Moi used just one tear gas to disperse everybody from Nairobi. One tear gas. At some point, he has the power to detain. Nyayo House. These are not stories, eh?
Yeah.
I don't think Ruto has those powers.
So even
the power of coercion, the power of instilling fear and ruling by fear, that has been removed from modern leaders. You can't do that. Kibaki couldn't do it. Uhuru couldn't do it. How will Ruto do it? Today you throw a tear gas, I see at the university, you throw them, students used to be managed by 2 tear gas canisters, university students. Now you throw and they throw back. Before it lands, they get it and throw back to the police. There is absolutely no power head of state has over people who refuse to listen. So there is no way Ruto can manage people if they say no. The only way to manage people, and I've repeated and I want to repeat, is for Raila and Ruto to sit down in the interest of this country. None of them should think they are clever, because they are not clever. You
know, you say that, and before even we started, I told you what people are saying in our comments. They don't want what you're pushing for.
They don't want people,
they don't want Raila and Ruto to have a conversation, because
why?
From the comments, most of them say if Ruto rigged the election, he needs to go home. Raila should not give room for a conversation on the next year, on next time's 2027's election. What would you tell these people that say, Herman, please don't tell us that again?
I know, I have read the comments, but when I said Raila should stop, then they didn't understand. What I'm saying is, you can still remove Ruto from State House if that's what you want, but you can also talk about it. Who says you can't talk about it?
Raila and Ruto?
Yeah. They can talk and say, okay, this election was not free and fair. We know it. This is the evidence. And this is where the country is going. Either we sit down and talk about that, or the country then goes up in flames. And then they agree, even with mediation. And then they say, okay, let's do the election again. We won't be the first people to do it in the world. People have done it. Yeah. What I'm saying is, unless we are careful, we will breed a state of anarchy. And nobody will benefit. Who is going to benefit from anarchy? Not Ruto, not Raila, not the people of Kenya. That's what I'm saying. Let's avoid anarchy. But I've also said there is a but. If Ruto needs pushing, he should be pushed until he agrees. If they feel he should. That's why I was saying, are they serious? First, they must be serious. They should not tell me they are serious. They should tell themselves that they are serious. If they are serious about the electoral theft, if they are calling it theft, and they have evidence, I don't know about it myself, they should push in such a way that you generate sufficient heat to bring Ruto to table. And when it comes to table, then the country will be talking. Kenyans will be talking to fellow Kenyans.
Okay. Good place to wrap up. So we still wrap up with, we need to have a conversation.
That conversation you can't avoid. It only depends at what point you want to have it. You can have it now. You can have it when there's some little destruction around. You can have it when there's a lot of destruction.
Like what?
You can even have it 50 years to build the country after it has been destroyed. When I saw Siadi Bare, I think Safari Park, I saw so many huge vehicles driving in the compound. Many. Speed with those funny thing on top. Jeeps, stouts, what? Left-hand drive. That's what is all this. Then I saw, it was Siadi Bare. It was Somalis coming. That was like 30-something years ago. I think 32 years, 31 years ago. Is Somalia have they settled?
It's still
Have they sorted out their problem?
Somalia, Somaliland,
It is still, there's still a problem there?
yeah.
So you can choose to speak, to talk now before one stone is thrown. You can choose to talk because a few stones have been thrown. You can choose to talk because a few shops have been broken into. You can choose to talk because Nairobi is ungovernable. Tear gas all over. All shops closed for 1 month. Then you talk. But you can also reach there and still refuse to talk. And destroy everything you have made for all these years. And take 50 years, 100 years to rebuild. And then you talk to rebuild. You have seen Somalis who are talking from Nairobi.
So either way, people that say...
At the end of it, when people go to war, they refuse to talk. Then they go to war. Finally, they end up talking. This is the point I'm trying to make. It's a simple point.
So,
It's a question of, it is always cheap pride. That pride you will bend because the heat can be generated in your direction and you just agree at the end of the day. At a time you don't have control over even the discussions themselves. So I advise leaders to do what Uhuru and Raila did without necessarily going into handshake or a coalition government.
Okay.
But there's need to talk.
I don't think you've ever articulated it that way. No matter, it doesn't matter, they'll still have to talk. Anytime.
It may be Ruto's child, grandchild, talking to Raila's grandchild.
There still will be a conversation.
Yes.
Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Jadiel Kabiro. Till we do talk again, have yourself a lovely rest of your day.